This is Telstra TLS, and yeah, but Telstra has been in an extended downtrend for a little while. This is the weekly chart. I've just connected these two top pivots here and got us a little downtrending channel. So I'll just go have a look at the, let's zoom in a little bit here. Okay, you can see every time it's got up to this this is the biggest volume bar on the chart here. That's the around 347 level. It's been knocked back. So but anyway, if we zoom in again, now what we've got down here, our last big down move. I'll just take these couple of these things off here. You can see we've had this big down move, and the volume was very high, ultra high volume, and then even the next bar was ultra high volume, but both of them close off their lows and close, and the second one closes up, and that suggests that there's some buying in the bottom of those bars, but it hasn't been enough for it to stop supply overcoming demand, and it gets down to here. Then we have another very ultra high volume bar at this low, and then things start to become a little more interesting. And what I'll do there, I've already done it, but I'll put it on there. And we've started that started a little uptrend within our bigger downtrend. So smart money typically buy on down bars and sell on up bars, but not all the time. Sometimes when we see ultra high volume up bar, it's smart money can be selling into the herd, but sometimes they're absorbing supply as well. So we've got to see what happens to the price next. So we have ultra high volume. So there's plenty of supply coming from the left here that it's catching. And I'll just put some other lines in there. And I've taken them off the close and the high of these two down bars here, which are now acting or have been acting as resistance to the price moving up. So it comes up because you've got a lot of trapped buyers here that'll resist the price move going up. So every time we've come up here, it's resisted the price, come back, but you notice when it's come back on this time, we've stayed within the range of this bar. Looks like we've back tested the little breakout above this pivot here, and we've stayed within the range of this bar. And as the price has gone down, supply has reduced. This is high supply, high volume equals high supply, then it's come back into the bar and retested within that supply, retested for supply. Now supply is very low. You get down here and supply is very, very low, and that enables smart money to mark it up again. But and so it looks like they may have been accumulating within the range of this big high bar. Take it up, test for supply within the bar, take it up, catch the supply. You'll see high volume up bars now going up, but they're the close, see where the close and highs are. They're catching supply from here, the very narrow spread. It persists, but ultimately they've sent it back down to be they're not ready for it to go higher yet. And we have a down bar. There's very little volume now back down in this area. Now the next bar does go down, but then volume picks up, kicks in, they kick in, and they grab it where they started grabbing it the last time. And so it's a high volume down bar, but price is closed off the low and towards the high, and that's confirmed. The strength in that bar then is confirmed by the next bar going up, and then she's busted back up pretty quickly. The weekly, so we've had high volume going up, then we've got retesting coming back down. So what we've got with Telstra now is we've got what we haven't had for a while, we're starting to get some higher lows. Well, we've got one higher low anyway, and some higher highs. So that's given us this bit of an uptrending channel. And as we've come through to this area previously where it's had trouble, it's come through, it's pushed through. Now we're getting warnings here now that this bar here that's popped its head over is on very low volume. Now an up bar on low volume is a no demand. That means the professionals aren't really interested in higher prices. Otherwise, how could the price go up and the volume be very low? It's just sat there for a little bit. When volume does kick in, it's an up thrust, so they're not interested in taking this higher. And that collapses down again on volume and then closes higher. So they've smashed it down back to a breakout level. It looks back to this high volume bar. See the close of that high volume bar? I've taken it, smashed it down, and then the volumes, there's a really low volume test, the lowest than 3 bars, that is, hitting the close of our bullish bar over here. And that's allowed the price to go up. But I will say on this last little move up, your price, the volume is getting lower and lower. The price is trying to go higher and higher, but the volume is going lower and lower. So that would suggest that the price there is quite vulnerable. And the other thing you've got to bear in mind too is now you're at the top of, there's a couple of channels that you're coming towards the top of. You've got a resistance line there where they sold into it last time, right at the top of the channel. And even though you're in an uptrending started a little uptrending channel, you're still below this longer term trending channel, the upper channel, upper line, and you're also coming near the top of the upper trend line in your little uptrending channel, and you're getting volume getting less and less as we're approaching those channels, and it's not going to break through on less and less volume unless they step in and bust it right through with a big lot. But at the moment it looks like the professional money are not supporting this price going up, otherwise this volume would be increasing. So it's a bit vulnerable there at the moment, but it is starting to show some signs. So it might get up there, might need to come back and retest within this high volume. Probably, it may need to retest back down in there after it's done that. But anyway, that's but I'd be a little wary now, because this volume's not very exciting. It's going up, but the volume's not very exciting, and you're coming towards some resistance. You're coming towards a cluster of resistance, upper trend channel lines, and low volume going up. So you just got to be a bit cautious there, I think. It's probably not the lowest risk time to be buying it. If you're holding it, well, you just got to be very careful now. I would think, because I'd be very surprised if this ready to break through there just yet. It might need to come back. If you see really low volume coming back down, a real low volume down bar, the lowest in 3, you want the lowest volume in 3 bars, really low volume, and it's a down bar and it closes high, the high of the bar, and that would be a positive sign. If it keeps going up in really low volume and starts banging its head on here, then it has to come back. It has to come back. So just keep an eye on it. This is the weekly chart, bear in mind as well. So this is TPL Corporation. It looks like, oh, look at that. I don't know what's happened there, but anyway, it looks like it's been an extended period of not going very far. But if we zoom in, obviously, it's 1.2 to what, it's been as high as above 3 cents. So it's a very narrow very narrow range and very light lightly traded, so it's a little more difficult. We can just go bar by bar and see what's gone on. Of course, there's a buying bar here down the bottom at the 1.2. Now it's a buying bar because the next bar shoots up, and at the close of that bar is at support at 1.2. That's where they've been buying that bar in the past, and that's the bottom of a trading range. Well, it's going sideways, isn't it? There's not a lot more you can say about that. It's going sideways. Marked off the close of this is the weekly chart. Marked off the close of this big bar here, and it's sort of been oscillating around. That's sort of bent the midway of a little channel there. Yeah. So it's been going up and down through that channel. It hasn't really made a high or low yet on the weekly, but we're getting some interest. Look, we've got really high volume here coming in. You've got to be careful when you see high volume coming in on an up bar, because the professional money need to sell stock on an up bar, otherwise they sabotage the position. So that gives them the opportunity to sell, distribute to the herd. So you see this high volume up bar, closes lower, it has pushed through. There's been enough demand to push it through, but as it's been going up, the volume's getting light and light, and that's because they weren't really buying this. This was the herd buying, and they were distributing in the top, and then it started, once you got this no demand up there, very low volume comparatively, it has to come back down. So that's what's driven it down. Now we're getting the same situation here again. I'll just zoom in on the latest recent action that's come up. We've got the ultra high volume come in, and look where it's closed. So they were distributing into that, and it could be, look, it might be that they were trying to absorb this here, but then they've let it go down. So, but having said that, there's only a couple of cent range. Well, 1.2 to 3 cents is still double the price, isn't it? Just about. But anyway, that was sold into, whether it's supply coming from the left or smart money capping the price. It's been sold into heavily, and it's sent it very quickly back down to the bottom of the range. Look, now it's come up on high volume, but the close has been supported. So this is absorption volume. We know that because then we've had this big surge straight through that. I've been happy to absorb volume there, but now what happened? But it's closed off its high, so we're catching plenty of supply. Plenty of volume means plenty of supply. Okay, are they absorbing stale holders from the left, or are they trying to or are they capping the price again? Well, we don't know. We can only see. Well, we'll look at the daily, just see what the daily tells us. Oh, there we go. Well, we've been making a higher high. Oops. I suppose we could argue. Got a little uptrending line there. And I might turn it into a channel. So possibly. So that's been since, when was that? Been since June. But I'm not too comfortable with all this. See how little this volume here was to bust it through that previous resistance line there. Now look at all this volume coming in there. Now hang on, let's go a bit further over here. Oh no, there was an old top there. Look, that must have been, what's that, April? And this must be the quarterlies. And they're being sold into the quarterlies, it looks like. Do we have some news here or something? Something happened? Now, it could be they're trying to push through there again, but look, it's really, really high. So we don't know. It could be absorption volume. This can only be one of two things. Either they're absorbing supply from the left, and you will get supply from the left, trapped buyers selling out, or they're selling into all this good news around at the moment. Obviously there's some good news around, and they're selling into it, distributing, and they may want to take this back down to the bottom of this trend line if they're still bullish. Otherwise it can, you've still got that 1.2 cents down there as well. But I would imagine that even if they're bullish, they might want to come back and retest within our first volume. Actually it started here up thrust, but they pushed through it. We actually gapped it up over there to avoid absorbing there, so absorption as we saw on the weekly. So is that the end of it? We don't know, but I would imagine that this would still come back a little bit. So look for a really low volume. If you see a really low volume back test that closes on its high, and it's a really low volume, then that would be a good sign. But if volume persists and it goes nowhere, then you could be in trouble. They may target the upper trend line there. Who knows? If they're trying to distribute. But it's always a danger, because high volume up bars, smart money sell into high volume up bars. You are catching huge amount of supply, but you are at an old top, so that could be trying to absorb that supply. But I would have thought they'd be able to get through on that much. But you know, if they're still bullish, they'll probably support the they'll certainly support the bottom of that channel there at least. So just keep an eye on it. Just be wary. I wouldn't be buying. It was not really low risk to buy there. It's high risk, so it doesn't mean it can't go higher. But we like to buy low risk, like little test bars. You know, there's really low volume test bars, and then you get confirmation by the kick up a bit. They're the more low risk entries. But if I go further out, I probably don't like this. Let me go back to the weekly. I would like to see us get above our high volume. Hang on. I'd like to see some low volume testing on this really high volume, on top of this really high volume bar, to get some really low testing on top of that 2.2 cents, or even low volume testing at if we make a higher low and we get really low volume testing within this bar, that would be good too. But you really want to, well, we have cleared that. At the moment we're above this high volume line there, but we are in a zone of distribution where we've been distributed to before. So if we get some low volume testing above this bar, what you want to do is for this bar to clear, get really good entries, and then see low volume retesting of 3 cents, say, around that area on top of there, and that will give you some nice entries, because then you'd have background strength instead of now you've got background weakness. These are weak bars because the prices come off them. But if it can break through there, then this will become background strength, which you can take your entries off your real low volume testing, narrow spread bars, down bars, testing back into that area where there's been, and then finding really low supply. They're the places that are, you know, for short term. And if you think this is worth $1 or $2 now, and you don't care, well, you can just buy everything, as much as you can, I suppose. But if in the short term, if you're short term doing this short term, then your lower risk entries will be above here on back testing at a higher low volume back testing. And this is KZL, and this is the weekly, and we've got this downtrending line here that it's just popped its head out of. So it's been on very high volume. It's actually the highest volume on the chart, which is a bit of a worry, because the last time it didn't go too far after that, and then collapsed over not long after that. So you've got to be very careful of these. But that's a breakout, so that's achieved the result. because it's broken out of this little range here. Now that could have been accumulated in there. Now they want to take this higher. There's been news, they're not used, or they're happy to absorb the price at this level. So we'll just have to, but we can see what we want to see is some background strength, and our background strength is, so you see this big bars here before in the past where it's gone up and then it hasn't gone very far after that. So you just got to be careful there, but this is really, really high. But anyway, if we zoom in on there, you can see where the price has collapsed down, it's been rammed down, and they started buying it here. The volume starts picking up. The next bar, the close it doesn't close very much far off the previous close, and then it goes down 2 cents, closes 2 cents lower, really high volume, and it's closed on the towards the high of the bar, and then the next bar is closed up. So there's buying at the bottom here. So we have some background strength to work on. Next bar's up, and we get low volume. You see these bounces when they happen. You've got to be careful because and they might have been buying down there, but they'll want to keep buying down. They're trying to soak up any floating supply in that area. So they buy on down bars, and they'll want to keep trying to buy down there just to make sure there's nothing for sale at that level. So it's bounced, but then you start up thrusting, you get no demand, up thrust, no demand. Looks like a little price comes down, tries to go up and no demand. Looks like a test. But the test fails because price doesn't go higher, and it comes down. It does come down there, but it's very low volume. So there's no very low supply where before there was high supply. Looks like it's been rammed down there, but they've caught it in the bottom there. Closes compressing, then we get this bullish bar come bouncing back up, testing. Look, they've been whipsawing. It looks like they've been whipsawing it about in that range, because you do have some. That's your background strength right on that bar there. And they've broken through there, and they've taken it up to towards this bar here. That's probably around the 70 cents is where your next lot of resistance will likely be. Broken it through, but they'll want some low volume testing. I'd imagine they'll want to back test, and maybe even this trend line as far as I want that volume will need to be tested at some stage, because it is catching supply, and they'll try and soak that supply up before taking it higher. So just be very wary still, because your better entry now will be really low volume on the dip, really low volume coming into this bar, closing towards the high, and you get an example. Let's see if I can find an example for you. There's one there. Probably not the best one, but it's come back on really low volume, but next bar was a weak one, so probably not the best example, but that's the sort of thing you want it closing on its high and dipping down and closing lower, but closing on its high on really low volume. They're your better entries, and probably after you've cleared. Probably better after you've actually cleared that really a lot of high volume there, because that isn't a huge amount of volume. But let's have a look at the daily. Let's see if we can get a better idea. There we go. That looks better, doesn't it? Let's see what they're doing. We've got really high volume. It's been sold into. That's where they're buying it. I'll have to get the high volume bar in that area. It's right there. I might draw a horizontal line there just so we don't get lost. There's 64 cents it looks like. And that's what it's, see, it's how it's had to exert effort to get above that line. So that's actually a good sign. When you see a result from high volume, that's what you want to do. It's cleared a previous area where they've been distributing the price. You see even the bottom of that bar has constricted the price. You've got a higher low there. You had a high volume breaking through the bottom into the spread of that bar. It's come back and retested from lower volume, but stayed within the range of the bar. So this is actually looking really good. It's created your bull flag there. Then you've had bust through, so that you've had volume kick in, busting through, retesting, busting through. So this is actually looking quite good now, and you've cleared that whole top there. So look, you've got to be, and you've cleared. This is KZL. I think I mentioned. Hopefully, you've cleared. Oh. You've cleared from, managed to bust through from these two, this downtrending channel. So look, and what you've had a back test. You see, you've had a test back into that bar. The test is confirmed by slightly higher volume, rising higher. So this is actually looking. Quite bullish at the moment. I would imagine that they'll want to test this properly. Well, they did test it there. Buying, a lot of selling, catching a lot of supply to bust through there. Retest, very low volume, closed off its low. That looks like a little back test there, doesn't it? Right on that trend line. Price closes higher. So, I would be looking at, if I saw that, that's a bit steep. There you go, you got a little trend channel there happening. That's what I'd be looking at. So if you're looking to buy on the dips, you're looking for your really low volume, any really light volume, like you've got one there, really light volume towards the bottom of this trend channel. You have background weakness there. We're assuming this isn't weakness yet. If it breaks below there, then obviously it was weakness. They were distributing there. But if you get really low volume, retests on the line, and preferably above your high volume area, they're your better entries. But I mean, you can't just keep watching it going up, can you? You've got to take your entry somewhere. But typically, when we see these really high volume bars, we like to take a low volume retest. Well, you had a low volume retest there, but your safer ones are probably going to be above the close and towards the bottom of your trend channel. So anyway, it's up to you. But that's so far that's looking okay.